What's up, nerds? This is Mr. Storm, and today we're going to learn about attributes in HTML. Um, so, again, first thing you want to do before you get into the assignment, you're going to want to go through each of these pages here and play around with, or learn this information, and then play around with the exercises. Boom, boom, boom. So all these attributes exercises, you can go through and exercise 1 through 5. You can go play with these. These are really important. I very, very highly recommend that you go through and do these. For example, add a tooltip to the paragraph below with the text about W3 schools. So you'd go down here, you'd add your tooltip, and then you would check your code and then show your answer. So it's really important that you play around with these exercises to make sure that you understand that this or how you understand the information that you're expected to learn for this day. Again, these aren't going to be graded. This is just extra help for you, and I very, very highly recommend that you play around with them before you attempt to tackle the assignment. All right, so let's take a look at the assignment itself. So what it wants us to do is open up our about me2.html file for editing. So we already know how to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look. So I have my about me2.html. I'm going to open that with CodeWriter. Beautiful. And that's the stuff that we worked on last time. The next thing I want to do is add a background color and change the color of my H1 element. So I'm going to do those two things. So let's do background color first. Now, this is getting into something called CSS, or cascading style sheets. We are going to focus on CSS in the second term of the class. This is something that we're going to really dig heavily into in the second term. The first term, we're really going to mainly just deal with HTML, but it's important to know a little bit of CSS so that you can make things look a little nicer. So the first thing we want to do is create a background color. Now, from what we've learned already, we know that the body element is everything that's visible on the page, right? So I want to add a background color to my body element. I'm going to do that with a little bit of CSS. So I'm going to type the word style to let them know, let the editor know that I'm going to give him some CSS code in a minute, or her. I don't want to, assume the gender of my web browser. That was poor choice of words for me. But I'm going to let it know that I'm sending it some CSS code. And so I'm going to do style equals, and then I'm going to type background hyphen color, right? Now make sure you spell background correctly, because if you don't, it's not going to do anything. It's going to ignore it, and you're going to feel horrible. So background color. And I'm going to, well, let's get crazy. I'm going to make it red just because, right? And so now I have a background color that is red. Before I save this, I want to actually save it as About Me 3, because this is About Me 3. I'm going to save it as About Me 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and open it up in my web browser to see what my background color looks like. Oh gosh, that is horrible. That is an assault to my eyeballs. So let's go back and change that color. Let's make it something a little nicer. We can do light blue. Let's see what that looks like. Control S to save. Let's refresh. Oh, it doesn't recognize light blue because it's that. So there we go. Ooh, light blue looks much better. So I'm going to keep it light blue because I like the light blue. But so now I have a background color on my page, all because I just added a little bit of CSS, made it look a whole lot nicer. Okay. And it said it wanted me to change the color of my H1 element. Okay, good. That's easy. We know how to do that. So I can go to the opening tag of my H1, and I can do kind of the same thing. Style equals color, and I'm going to change it to, let's make it white. See what that looks like. Control S to save that. I will go back to my About Me page and I will refresh. So now I have a white H1 and I have a blue background. Now some of you may be asking, Mr. Storm, why is it just color? If this was background color, shouldn't this be like font color or text color? No, because it's H1, it knows that the color that we're trying to change is the color of the text. It already knows that. So we don't even need to put anything else, just color and then the name of the color we're looking for. So that's all you have to do. Change the background color and change the color of the text in your H1. When you're done with that, save your file and upload it to the attributes assignment. Okay. Now, one more thing real quick. There are a lot of attributes that we are going to use throughout this course. Okay. And so it's really important that you think about the elements and attributes and all these things in the correct terms whenever you're writing this stuff out. It's one thing to know how to type this out. It's a completely different thing to know what each of these things mean. Like to know that this is an element, right? This is a body element. This whole thing is a body element right here. To know that this is an H1 element right here. To know that this is simply a paragraph open tag. This is a paragraph close tag. And altogether, this is a paragraph element. Knowing that this style right here is a style attribute applied to the H1 open tag, which applies to the entire H1 element. Think about it in terms of the vocabulary, and that will help you to really understand the lessons as you go through them and as you learn this stuff. Again, I'm here if you have any questions. Please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for paying attention, and I will see you next time.